Welcome to Eventful Endeavors, secrets to crafting the perfect celebration. If you're planning an event and looking for useful tips from industry experts, you're in the right place. So get ready to take some notes and we'll dive right in. This is Eventful Endeavors.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Eventful Endeavors. And today I am super excited to have Danny Fatizzi from Euphoria Vacation Homes. Hey, Danny, how you doing?
Hey, how are ya? I'm good, thanks.
Thank you so much for being here today. First of all, I was reading all about you and see what you guys do, and this is amazing. How many things you have accomplished within only like 8 years now? Is that right?
Yeah. Just the last 8 years that I've been running the company.
So for our listeners, Danny is the venue manager and the owner of big Euphoria Vacation Homes located in St. Augustine, Florida. Beautiful complex to host amazing weddings and events. So Danny, I see that you're a native New Yorker, and then you became Floridian. You got your 2 college degrees over there. That was a Flagler College, is that right?
Yes, yep, right downtown.
Beautiful. And you said that I could read that you always had a warm place in your heart for St. Augustine. So tell me all about it. What's going on?
Yeah, so moved here, went to late high school and college here, got a couple degrees, realized that the service industry was an easy, low-hanging fruit of entry to just, make some money in college. And then I just sort of like networked a lot through that and then moved back to New York. Spent a couple years there in the service industry getting my actual butt kicked. I don't know if I can curse on this podcast. I'm
You're fine. You're good.
gonna keep it PG. And then moved back because I was like, I really want to start a business, but I just don't feel like the barrier to entry is like where it needs to be in New York to do something in real estate. It's just like other than get my license and try to like flip rentals and stuff, like I really wasn't sure what I was gonna do up there. So I came home to St. Augustine and I call this home because this is where my parents had moved to. So like at this point, this was home. New York was home, but this was really like where roots were getting put down. So I came back here and I just kind of like picked up every book I could read on like real estate investing. And I got involved in a lot of like online real estate investing forums. And I just learned as much as I could possibly learn. And then ended up meeting some people here who were like, wow, you really know your stuff. Like you've been really, studying up and brushing up and like you're finishing our sentences. Like, who are you? Come work for us. So like I came into the office, into that environment and was working for some people that I had been kind of fangirling over in this industry for a while, like in the real estate investing world. They like were moving to St. Augustine in like this crazy way and were getting an office and they were like, come be part of our thing. And I was like, this is crazy. Like how the world all comes together when you manifest. It's wild. So I ended up like editing podcasts for these guys and doing like, cold calling for like real estate wholesaling deals and everything. And all of that said, they all had their own vacation rentals too. And they were like, hey, Danny, we don't really have the time to do this. Can you just like throw these on Airbnb and rent them? And I was like, yeah, like, sure. Like thinking it was like, what, like it's hard. Yeah, just throw it on there. And so, so I get like 3 seconds into this and I'm like, oh my God, this is like a lot of work. So because of the perfectionist in me, like the just natural born, like it has to be great. I got really good at it, even though it was hard and I learned everything the hard way. I got really good at short-term rentals and managing them, cleaning them, like what the standards should be, maintaining them, getting them repaired, and then all the other things that come with that are like the ugly side that like nobody likes, like the licensing and the taxes and all that stuff. So like learned it all from scratch on the go. And then over the last 8 years, I've managed 160 rentals. I have a team of 11 people, including myself, plus cleaners, handymen, plumbers, and all the other people that help. Like that's in addition. And it's just like a daily 24/7. I work like 25/8, if that makes any sense. Like there is no, there's no time off. There's no days off. People are like, Danny, pick a day of the week you want to take off. I'm like, it's just not happening right now. Like it's just, we're in go phase. We're in growth phase. We're in build phase. It feels like it's perpetual but it's a busy, awesome environment. And so we like a year, 18 months ago, probably 18 months ago, we started really trying to discover what it would look like to break into the events side of this business. It just seemed like there was something there. So we kind of like, we started joining the bridal expos, like our local bridal expos and like setting up a table. And we went as Euphoria Vacation Homes with a couple of like flagship homes that we were promoting as unique venues to host your wedding at. I don't want to get too carried away with my story. I'm not sure of like how far I'm running with it and you want to possibly slow me down.
You're actually great because I feel like everybody wants to hear actually all this amazing growth. Like I'm so impressed. Like within 7, 8 years, you've managed over like
Thank you.
160 homes. This is amazing. So I'm sure everybody here and our listeners, like they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. So this is something like really, really relate to. Now, I guess that you've seen a few weddings like in the past, which will actually take me now to the first question here. What are like the current trends that you're seeing like in weddings or like in events, like in general? Anything that is going on today?
Yeah, actually, weirdly, it does relate to what I do. So, as we've gone to the bridal expos, we've had a lot of time with like face to face with girls who are like talking about the early stages of what they want to do. And like some of them are coming in like completely like, I have no idea. I'm coming here to get all the ideas because I literally don't know what I want to do. I just got engaged. Some girls are like, this is their third or fourth expo. Like they come and they're like, no, I'm going to all of them because I want to see if there's different people, or like I just haven't decided on my photographer yet. Or like venue is one of the early stage things, I think, is what I'm finding. Like venue is like one of those things, like if you can lock that down, almost everything else starts to fall into place. But if you don't have the venue, you're kind of like, I can't envision the rest of it because I don't know where I'm doing this, right? Like, so we come into play pretty early on in the process because we are unique venues. And what I'm starting to find is in the beginning, when we first started doing the bridal expos, we were like promoting, we're the only people at the expo that have these like vacation homes. We have nobody else that's doing this besides us that's like an accommodations option for a venue. And not only that, but if you choose not to use us for your venue, we have 75 other active rentals right in the area that you can like put your family in. You don't have to get a hotel block. So that's a little aside, but the trends I'm seeing go back to people are coming right up to us. And like we kind of look at each other, like my team and I, after these conversations, because we're like, but they come up to us and they're like, no, I was literally online last night looking for like a waterfront mansion to have my wedding at. And I'm like, so we're hitting a niche. Like that's what's changing is like, I think the Gen Z and millennial brides are a little bit burned out on the big white wedding. Not that it doesn't have a place and not that there isn't still that bride, but I think a lot of, especially like economically right now, we're starting to move towards like, how do I get the most bang for my buck? And I don't necessarily need a 200-person wedding. I can have a 50-person, 75-person wedding and it'd be very intimate and I can like have a location that's very versatile. So like, as an example, we have a waterfront mansion. I represent about 8 unique homes that are event friendly. So like you could have up to 100 people at these homes for a wedding. What is the best bang for the buck is I can have 14 of my either my guests or my family or my bridal parties stay at the property with me and we can wake up there and it's way less like of a hassle to move everybody to the location than just like let's wake up, let's make breakfast, let's have like a whole day here and like we're already here. So much less stress.
It's so convenient. I love this. I love this.
Yeah.
You're there, no stress about transportation. Let's get there. Let's stuff. You're just there. Wake up. Let's go. Let's have our special day. I love this. This is so
You're
good.
like waiting for the team to come to you instead of you going to the team and then potentially having to move again to another venue. I don't know. I just think it makes a lot of sense.
It does, and it feels like way more personal too. I believe. It
Yeah.
just feels like it just feels so right. And nowadays, like I can also see and attest myself as a performer that I mean, small weddings are becoming a big deal. It just becomes like they used to have those massive ones, and now a lot of people are like, we'll be fine with 55 guests, 70,
Yeah.
100. So I love it. And this is just about a capacity you were mentioning, 100 people. Perfect. Perfect. I love that. Uh,
Yeah.
my next question would be, anything that you believe couples should never do? Any like cringe-worthy stuff that you
Oh,
saw and you're like, please don't do that. Like, please.
yes. I can think of a few, but it's because it's very industry specific for me, right? Like I have to then think about it this way. You had your grand weekend at my vacation rental and you had 100 people and you had a whole bunch of vendors, right? And now I have to block a day to allow my cleaning team to come in and put this back together because it might not be a bride coming in after you. It might be just a family coming in for a vacation. So we have two different types of clients, right? We've got our brides and then we've got like our vacationers, right? So the thing that like actually gets me the most is when they take everything from the entire weekend and they pile it up outside, like
Oh,
all the trash, all the decor, everything. And I have a mountain of stuff to get rid of.
oh,
So part of what we ask is we can coordinate this for you or you can do it yourself, but there's a fee if like we coordinate it. Like we can help get all the trash off the property, but
yeah,
like please don't surprise me with like a mountain of stuff. Like because then I have to figure out how I'm going to get it out of there so these next people don't see it. Or like they put up their own decor. Like this is a different industry. Like I don't have, I either can coordinate people to do this for them, but a lot of girls want to do this themselves. They want to like decorate the house, right? And they want to do it their way. So like they're tearing paint off the walls when they take the tape down, like things like that. So like it's all good, everything's good. We can fix anything. But like those are the things in my little world that I'm like, if we could just be a little bit more considerate, that would be two thumbs up, you
yeah.
know?
I believe everybody would appreciate it, you know, that's
Hmm.
people and everybody else who works at the place. Yeah, that's definitely interesting and probably not pleasant to watch, but what is like the most like unique or fun idea that you see like couples doing like on their weddings day now? Anything that you're like, oh, people should definitely be doing more of this?
Yeah, I feel like what I'm seeing a lot is like we have houses with pools, and I've been seeing a lot of they line the edge of the pool with the dinner tables so everyone can look at each other across the pool. Because if it's like a square pool, they actually just like it's so pretty. And then the tablescapes, like all as it's getting like the sunset is setting and like the candles are and the oh my gosh, it's so pretty. And I've seen a lot of brides, again, beautiful tablescapes, lots of candlelight, and they're all around the pool. So they can just it's such an interesting, different way of designing the exterior so that everyone can talk to each other across the pool. And like it's I just think that's so cool.
I like that. Yeah, I actually saw it on a wedding I was playing. I believe it was last year, and I was like, I like this idea the way like the seating works and everything else. It's really cool. I actually I don't believe I've seen that like that much, but people should definitely be doing more of that. I believe too. This is a really nice,
Yeah.
you know, just I don't know. It feels nicer, more personal. You know, to have conversation and like actually be watching the person. So yeah, that's
Yeah. It's
that's
very upscale. Like the more like pictures I see of it, the more I'm like, wow, that is really beautiful, you know?
and that's what people I feel like are also looking today in like weddings, like also like the visual aspect of it, like in terms of like also the venues, obviously how everything looks like a lot of focus like on colors and things like that, things that I didn't witness like before, but I was like, okay, it's becoming a thing, it's a real deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty cool, all the visual aspect to it as well. Here's another question that I got: what kind of advice can you offer to a couple that is just starting like to plan their wedding day?
Okay, that's a really good question. So somebody who comes to me and they're like, "Hey, I'm really like focusing in on this property. I love this property. I love this vibe. You know, what do you include in your packages?" We can kind of cater our packages to anything they need. So that's where like I start. Do you need day of coordination? Do you need decor services? Do you need rentals? So like I kind of am the mecca of that for them in a concierge sense. So like the first thing I say is like, let's get you locked in on these dates because again, my properties can be scooped up by a vacationer overnight. If we don't get them booked for their big day, like the plan could be ruined by just if they don't have a deposit down and a contract signed, a vacationer could literally come in like right now and like it's got those dates are gone if that's what they want. So let's get you locked in. Let's get that deposit down. Let's get your event waiver signed and your contract signed. And then let's start the actual process of like, let's go and walk through it together and let's decide like, where's the caterer going to set up? Do you want them inside or outside? And I will do this walkthrough with them, or my team is more than capable of doing the same walkthrough. Let's talk about you want to have a tent? Where are we putting that? Where you want to have your outdoor dinner with your communal table? Where are we setting those up? How many tables do we need? Like, so I will start the process of really getting honed in because I know the properties better than anybody else. and I can tell them like what is capable, what is possible versus what isn't. What can we accommodate and what can we not? Um, and what is reasonable when you have this many hours, right? Like you have, what's cool about what we do is you don't just have hours. It's not just the day. You have the night before, the entire following day, that night into the next morning to potentially have multiple events. You could have a rehearsal dinner, an entire wedding, and a goodbye brunch in the amount of time that you're working with this one rental. So like how crazy do you want to get and how can I help you get there is kind of the advice I would give.
And I feel like that's probably such a great advice because people should definitely start, and I believe too, their weddings like, well, as early as possible, especially if you have like a venue that you're looking at, like, this is gonna be my dream place. Make sure you can lock a date first. Then you can like work on everything else, catering, design. So if you know that you want to get married and that's gonna be at a Euphoria Vacation Home, like, hey, let's reach out, let's get a date. Then we'll figure out what's going on up next. And you have such a broad team as well. So I feel like the process is gonna be like also very, very efficient and easy. So that's
We
perfect. That's
try. We really try. We want it to be smooth. We want everyone to feel like they're getting the value that they pay for. It's important to us.
That's well, I mean, you only get married once, right? Hopefully. So you want it to be you want it to
Fingers
be like,
crossed.
yeah. So you want it to be your special day.
Yes.
So I mean, and of course your venue, it's like I'm still astounded by the fact that over 160 homes you were able to manage. And I'm still trying to see obviously it's so unique, the fact that you can stay at the vacation homes and then just boom, it's my wedding and it's right there and it's so convenient. But other than that, which I love that, tell me what makes your venue or your service like unique comparing to the others out there.
Yeah, no, yeah. I think that it has to be, no question, the fact that you have accommodations on site. It's just there are a million wonderful venues here in St. Augustine. It's a wedding destination, right? They're so cool. Like there's the vault downtown at the Treasury. I don't have a vault at any of my places, but I do have overnight accommodations. And so that is the difference, I think, for us is we have that edge of you are paying less than what you would pay at one of those locations, one of those like standard wedding venues, right? Maybe they've worked in the cost of catering or serving or whatever. I can do the same thing. You are just not getting overnight accommodations there. You still have to get the hotel block. You still have to, the stress of finding places to get ready and finding places to stay. And where's grandma going to stay? And where's mom going to stay? And where are my cousins that are coming in from out of town? And my best friend and her husband and their kids. And all these things that, like, I don't need you to be stressed about that. We can actually not only give you a place for your wedding that has overnight accommodations on site for usually up to 14 or 15 people. So it's like a bridal party. Or, and not or, and I have so many rentals right there that I'll be like, tell me how many people are coming into town. I will create a coupon code like Mr. and Mrs. Smith or whatever. And I will give them a little bit of an edge over the normal discount that I give like just regular guests. 12% or 15% I can do for a bride, and it'll be like our room block coupon. So like they get the same value of a room block that they would get at a hotel, but we can do it on our homes and just be like, hey, we have a pod of houses that are all right here. They can all walk to each other even. That's how close together they are. Or they're just a couple minutes drive, or they're across the street, or they're side by side, but like they're right there so everybody can just like be together. So that's the edge that we have is not only can we just make it an easy day because you wake up and you're in your wedding venue, but you can have everyone really close by, and it's so much less stress than being like, let me get this hotel block that I just don't know who's even coming, and then I have to cancel these rooms and pay for the ones I didn't use because there's a cancellation policy. We can handle all of that.
Ah, this is so convenient. Once again, I love this. So I love that fact so much. And it's so, just giving like a peace of mind for the families, for the couple. Like, okay,
Yeah.
it's right there. I love that. Well, you were mentioning pricing like a little bit. So let me actually dive into that like real quick.
Yeah.
Can you give us like an average like event size and the cost of your venue? Just something.
Yes, absolutely. So the two flagships that we're kind of working with right now that are like the most popular venues, like I have a brochure with peak and off-peak pricing that I sent one of them over, but I'll send the other one over too. So the two they're not terribly similar. It's just that they have different peak and off-peak seasons because they're in different parts of town. So like the beachier side of town that has the waterfront, we call it Mariner's Mansion, and it's waterfront with the dock that goes out, the sun sets, you've got the green, you've got the pool, you've got all the different, options, the giant catering kitchen, like it's just tons of parking. That one goes for a little bit more in like the busy season for the beach because it's peak, right? Like, and there's still like as we all know, anybody in the event industry, wedding industry, it all knows that like there's a time period of the year where like you're going to get a lot more event requests than off season. So we try to, give those brides that are looking for something in off season a break. But you're probably for like a 2-night stay, you're looking at, for the waterfront mansion, somewhere in the neighborhood of around $6,200 for the weekend, inclusive of accommodations and tables and chairs. I work that into the rate. I don't charge extra for that. So if you want to add additional nights, like let's say you wanted to do 3 nights instead of two, we can do a discounted rate that we would like less than what we would charge on the regular calendar for a vacationer. We just give a discount and include an additional night up to however many you'd like. And then for the castle, because I have a castle downtown, the castle has its own vibe and it's, historic, like what it used to be actually. If anybody's familiar with St. Augustine and they know where Ripley's, believe it or not, is the museum. Ripley's used to be a hotel in the 1800s, and it was a historic castle. And then next door, they built a little castle, and that's where they would bring the horses and carriages. And so Castle Garden is my castle, and that is where the horses and carriages used to be brought. Very historic, very romantic.
Oh,
And that one has similar pricing. It's a little bit less because you don't have the waterfront view, but it's downtown. You can walk to everything. And that one's around 6,000 for 2 nights, inclusive of accommodations for 14 people, tables and chairs, and we can add additional nights as needed. So I hope that helps, but I can send over the pricing sheets too.
this is so cool, and this is like one of like the most amazing things like about St. Augustine. Like aside from being such like an historic city, it's beautiful. So it
Hmm.
like definitely gives you that aspect of like the rustic, but still like very like I would still very like up to date, like in modern like designs to
Oh,
the
yeah.
venue. Because I checked out obviously your venue, and I'm like, this is such a nice combo, in St. Augustine. So this is great. What is the usual deposit amount?
We take half down to book the dates. So it's a 50% deposit, and then we take the balance 90 days before check-in.
Okay, perfect. Do you have any cancellation policy?
Yes. So you have up to 90 days before, and we'll refund everything.
Okay. Now I'm just about catering and vendors. Do you have like an in-house catering service, like, or do couples need to provide their own caterers so we know that we do as well? So how does that work usually?
Yes. Yeah. So we have preferred vendors that we work with that are either like, let's say it's a smaller event and you wanted to do a rehearsal dinner with a private chef. We've got an in-house private chef. We have our preferred people who we know work well with the space for catering that's a little bit more involved. So like anything like 25 people and more, you would probably want to opt for that versus the private chef. So yes, again, we have all these relationships, so we're happy to bring everyone together and, introduce to our vendors.
Yeah, I mean, there are probably, and that would be like my next questions. Like, are there any like preferred vendors like you recommend, and are couples required to use them?
Not required. Absolutely not. I will not require anybody to use anybody. The only thing that I like to say is, hey, I've got your tables and chairs if you want them. Use my tables and chairs. But other than that, like, tents, I would need to help coordinate with St. John's Illuminations. For, decor, I have the girls that I use for that. For florals, I've got, and a lot of these people are people I work with every day in other aspects of my business. So I'm very familiar with them. I feel very comfortable with them because they own vacation rentals that I manage. And so they have businesses that do floral, do they're musicians. They are, all the different pieces of the puzzle.
This is amazing. I mean, like my next question would be actually, what is like the maximum capacity? And I know we talked about just about 100 people for both ceremony and reception. Would that be like about 100 people?
I would say about 100 people only because, again, these are vacation homes. So we have neighbors. We have to keep the peace. We have to be respectful. So I don't want to overwhelm the properties with too many people. Because then it tends to get potentially, I'm not in this insulated area, like inside a building where like I won't be bothering neighbors. We want to be like very thoughtful about and intentional about how we do the events. So I think 100 is the max. 75 is a sweet spot.
And my next question would be, and that's just a given. Is there a designated bridal like suite or changing area? I would say yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Especially at the castle. The castle has its own private bridal suite that is located it's separate from the rest of the house. So it's around the back and it's in the house, but it's just not, you can't access it without leaving and going outside to it. So it's this beautiful room. The original doors on the building from when the horses and carriages were brought in and out are still there. You can see them. They used to roll them back and forth, and there's this gorgeous archway door that you enter, and that's like our little get ready space for the brides. So like family and all the guys, like if you want to have like everyone in one house, you can still do that. They're just in separate areas. So that way everybody can still feel like
They have
they have their space.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's awesome. Other now you just mentioned that now. I mean, obviously we can't be like in general like couples. Like, is there any set time? Like, say like, hey, we cannot be playing or like blasting music past like I don't know, maybe like 11, 10, any set time.
Yeah, St. Johns County ordinance requires 10 o'clock. So we just ask that if you're going to do it, just bring it inside. That's what we always say. You can have the best time, just bring it inside?
All right, yeah, I'm like that's good. Go inside, everybody, grab your drinks. Let's go
Yeah.
indoors. Party
You
still
have
on.
the house. You have the house the whole night. You've got it till the next morning. So if you want to enjoy it, enjoy it. There's no cutoff time. It's just outdoor noise. Bring it in at 10.
Exactly. Is there like ample like parking available for the guests? Is it complimentary?
So it just depends on the location. Each house is unique. So a lot of the properties are, if they're downtown, we have some parking on site, but you may want to utilize neighborhood parking or additional parking lots because you might want to use that space that you have for like bringing a food truck or, just depends on your desires as the bride and how you want the space set up. But you may want to use the parking area for something. If you want to do an indoor outdoor wedding, you may want to use it. So we have relationships with local parking lots downtown where we can help the brides sort of like direct their guests there. And then additionally for like the beachside properties, we have local beach accesses that are like kind of right across the street. So we've got places people can park.
That's fun. That's very convenient. Oh, I love
Yeah.
St. Augustine. I love this place. Which takes me actually to my next question. And, we are here in Florida and we know how weather is in here. You never know what's going to happen. Do you have a backup plan, like for an outdoor wedding in case of like bad weather?
Yes. Well, what's cool about these locations is they're pretty large. So you have the option to bring things inside, but I always put my suggestion to the bride to have a tent, something that she can utilize if it like, if there's a hurricane coming, we're probably not having the wedding.
Yeah.
That's probably not happening because a lot of times we end up with evacuation orders. We're in flood zones out here. Just is what it is. Florida, we're on barrier islands. So it's just unfortunately, part of what we have to deal with. But if there's no hurricane and it's just a regular daily occurrence of like a 3 p.m. storm or something like that, we have options by reaching out to our local rental places and at least just having something that we can have on site as a backup plan because you just don't know. If I was the bride, I wanted an outdoor wedding, I would absolutely have a tent available even if I didn't use it. Just the peace of mind. And I would probably dig in. If I'm being honest with you, I'd probably go like to the nines on it. I would hire people to have umbrellas and like escort my guests around the prop. Like I'd probably go to the nines about it and make it like a rainy day wedding and like just go all in on it.
I feel like it's almost like a must, like in Florida, because you just can't tell with the weather. It could be sunny out there, and then boom, like for the next like 10 or 15 minutes, it's like all gray, raining so hard. And that could be like, just like before like the ceremony time. And then like you want to have like a plan B. All right, hold on. I mean, if it's like 15, 20 minutes, you may be fine. You're like, okay,
Yes.
let's phone it. But if it just goes for like such a long time, you never know. So yeah, plan B is definitely recommended. I would say,
Yeah.
especially getting married here in Florida. Are there any
100%.
additional costs, by the way, like associated with using like the backup like space?
No. No, no. I mean, we keep everything pretty like front and center. I like to not surprise the girls. So, as long as they tell me what they need, I will put it in some sort of built in. I like to package it so that it's not like there's no like hidden costs and stuff. We're very like here's what we include for this price.
That
Yeah,
that
I feel like it's best because then, it comes back and it bites you later because they'll be like, wait, can you give us a breakdown of this? Like, what is this? And I'll just say, like, this is what you're getting. This is everything.
right, right. And now I'm just gonna go like diving into like the timing and setup. How early like can vendors come to the access the venue and set up like on the wedding day?
So that's why we suggest getting multiple nights. Like, you get at least 2 nights minimum with the booking. So we typically say, like, if you're having a wedding on Saturday, let's start your booking Friday. So you can come in Friday afternoon at 4 p.m. and start loading in, or at least get your family in. And then you can have from as early as you want Saturday to have the vendors come and start setting up. That booking then goes all the way through to Sunday morning at 10 or 11 a.m. It just depends on the property, but that gives you plenty of time to set up and break down without the stress of like, you got to be out of here. Cause like, I can't tell you how many weddings I've been to at traditional venues, not talking, any smack, but you got to be out by midnight. Like, it's a mad dash for the people who are in the wedding to be like, oh my God, let's grab everything and just shove it in people's cars because we got to be out of here. That's not the case with us. We start it early and we end it late. So you have all the relaxation and it's not like a mad dash to get it all in.
Nobody want to be like rushed and feel like, okay, we got to do this, we got to do that. So
Yeah. And I feel like weddings are like half rushing. Like, that's what they typically are. It's like so much about timeliness and like, are we getting ready on time? Like, if you can have your makeup and hair team there at 7 a.m., you're definitely going to be walking down the aisle, no problem, by like 4 or 5. you know? Like,
the groom
yeah.
would definitely be fine, and I'm sure the bride would
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Versus it being like this, like rush, 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 rush. And then like we're rushing after and everything's good so that you can get your deposit back. Like, we don't do that.
Okay, that's perfect. I love that. It could be like, and I get it, like weddings can be stressful, but still, it's your special day. Enjoy that. Try to enjoy it, not worry about stuff. I mean, obviously, easier being said than done, but still, I mean, just keep that in mind. It's your special day.
Yeah.
Is there like an event coordinator, or you are going to be on site during the wedding day? How does it usually work?
So we definitely get coordinators for the brides. I'm going to help with like space planning. I'm going to help with getting those vendor connections, but I am not your best bet for a day up coordinator. So like, I don't even try to do it. I'm like, that is not going to be my wheelhouse.
I feel like there's so many other things that it's totally okay. I mean,
Yeah.
totally understandable.
Yeah, I just don't think I would be a good day up coordinator. So I just stay out of it. That's not my puddle. I don't play in it. So I just get the girls their best. And what's so cool is the bridal association, like the wedding association here, is full of people that are like incredible. So not only do they have their own planning companies, but they can also just do day of coordination services. So we have so many awesome girls to choose from to help with that. Got girls, guys, everybody. But like, I mean, I have a lot of friends in the industry who just are like, yeah, I'll absolutely help. So we have plenty of those connections. We can help the brides put all the pieces together, and that way I am not the bottleneck on their big day.
You guys have like a huge crew, I guess. So I mean, it's fine. Somebody's gonna like help them out.
Yeah.
That was there. Now, who would be like the main point of contact like prior to the event?
Would be me. I do have like a big team of people like that work directly in my company. So really, I feel like it's the person that tours the guest, or the bride, I should say the bride, not the guest. I'm sorry, vacation rentals. The bride, whoever tours the bride on the space really kind of becomes their go-to person, but I'm always here. Like, I'm just available. I can always say, like this is possible. This probably won't work. We should be moving towards this right now. You have 10 months. Let's get this handled. Let's get this set up. Like we're just always here in the background helping to like move towards the finish line.
And that's exactly like what I had in mind. Like my next question is like, how involved like are you in the planning process? And I could see that you are.
Yeah, like I am as involved as they want me to be, you know? Some girls don't really need me. They just need the space and that's it. Like they just need the space and they have all the other things handled. It's like sometimes they just come in and they've got half the team they want to work with already nailed down. Like they knew what photographer they wanted. They already had their day of coordinator. They already had their florals decided. They just need the space. And some girls really want to work with me and they'll come back and see me at multiple bridal expos because I'm like, girl, you could just call me. But they come see me at the bridal expos and they're like, okay, so I wanted to talk about this. And I'm like, you have my email, baby. Like just shoot me one, like I can help you anytime. You don't need to come see me at the bridal expo. It's like these are like 2-3 months apart sometimes. So funny.
This is amazing. Like you get right there. I mean, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, those are usually the questions that I feel like I covered the questions that I'm usually asking about, catering, vendors, pricing, and things. But there is actually another matter that I want to ask you about. And this is like more about you, like back, to Euphoria Vacation Home. Describing like the some of like the band friendly homes that you have, and how have you seen like brides actually use them?
Yeah. So that's a really interesting question. Everybody's really unique with the ideas that they have. It's kind of funny. So we have a way of like helping girls match to the house that is most fitted for them. Based on who they are as a person and stuff. And I can get into that later, but they will tell me like, hey, I want to have a food truck or I want to have a Sado life come and like cook for everyone in front of them. I want to have, gosh, I'm just trying to think of some of the things that I've seen, like long communal table type of like, where can I set up a long, like lots of candlelight? I want to do like a moonlight dinner. I want to do a dance floor. I need a 40 by 40 tent. Like it just depends on what they need and what they have the vision for. And sometimes they look at me and they're like, what do you think? And I'm like, yeah, we can get crazy right now. But like, there's a lot of options. There's a lot of really cool things that I've seen. I really think that the like bringing people in to cook outside is one of the coolest things I've seen. Like them setting up the tables and they have like this particular caterer has the ability to come and like smoke meat and like do a giant buffet and like you can watch them cook the meat at the event. It's like part of the entertainment. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, be a part of the show. You know what I mean? I love it. Yeah, that's super cool. How do you usually like work with the brides to match, to match them like towards the right property for their wedding?
Yes. So we kind of have this fun thing that we like to do. So every one of our homes has like a personality. We've kind of geared are you the historic? Are you the romantic old soul bride? Castle Garden is the one for you, right? Are you that like nautical, bougie, upscale, wants the sunset bride? Then you want Mariner's Mansion. Are you that golden era bride, a little bit more demure, a little bit more like, we find ways to match and then we want to move them towards, a certain property. So we have, like I said, there's about 8 of them and each of them is unique and we feel like we have like if your personality and like who you are and how you want your wedding to come across is a certain aura, a certain vibe, like I feel like I help them like gravitate towards a certain home that may be, the Golden Estate or, whichever one I think would be the better of the options. So, yeah.
Which one do you see like being like is the most popular?
It's definitely a tie between Castle Garden and Mariner's Mansion. I mean, I have girls that start with Castle Garden and they're like, "Oh my God, like we're so intrigued by this venue. It's so interesting." And then they see Mariner's Mansion and they're like, that's the one. Or like the other way around. Like they'll clean up they'll eat each other's little crumbs up because I'll start with someone who's like, I was looking at this waterfront one, but then I was like, oh my God, you have a castle? I want the castle. Like it's crazy because they start one place and they end up in another. It's almost happens every time where like they start with one and they don't really stick with it. They end up seeing other homes like, oh my gosh, the Golden Estate is so beautiful. I've always thought about getting married right downtown in a gazebo. I want to go with the Golden Estate. Like that is where we end up. It's just interesting. Just girls are like, it's just they're unique venues. They're just unique venues is what it comes down to.
Every venue has like its own personality. So, this just all this just makes me want to like get married like all over again and probably go and maybe find one of your homes over there and be like, okay, I want the castle actually. So I'm gonna try and aim for that. But my wife, I don't know if she would like that.
Yeah.
But this is amazing. Danny, I will say also that to all of our listeners listening right now, we do have a special offer for you right now if you're listening. So you will get $250 off of any event package by reaching out via email to Euphoria Vacation Homes using the code PIANO. All right? So any package, anything else you want to add on that?
Any package. No, like anything they want. So like, let's say they build a package and it ends up, $7,000. They'll get $250 off like that. Just email us and say, I'm interested in one of your properties. I want to move forward. Or like, hey, like obviously there's a lot of discussion that comes before they're like, yeah, let me sign on the line. But if we work towards, any property that they want to decide to book and they have started it all with that code, we will honor that $250 off the package.
Yay, this is so awesome. Danny, I feel like I covered like all the questions I had in mind. I am so happy you were able to get up here today on this podcast. This is so cool, so impressive. So once again, to our listeners, if you're looking for like getting married in like the most historic town in the United States and such a cool venue that is so convenient too, it's right there. You're getting married, all your parties over there. You have a place to stay. You have such a huge crew also taking care of you over there. I would definitely recommend checking out Euphoria Vacation Homes. So we are also going to make sure to put down here and attach to the podcast a link to your Instagram, your TikTok, and your website, of course. It includes some of those brochures you mentioned earlier. I would love people to check it out. So, Danny, thank you so much for being here today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. This was so nice to talk about. I really appreciate the time, and I would love to help the girls, the guys, everybody out there on their big day. I would love to, put our heads together and brainstorm. I have a background in event planning. I just don't do it anymore. So comes naturally to me and I do enjoy it. So I would love to help anybody and everybody who's looking to have a more intimate experience with, a little bit smaller wedding, maybe 75 to 100 people or less, and, come up with some really unique, cool ways to make it a one-of-a-kind wedding.
Yay. I love that. I love it. Yeah, Danny, thank you so much for being here. Once again, folks, stay tuned for our next podcast. Thank you so much, Danny. And we'll see you soon.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Eventful Endeavors, Secrets to Crafting the Perfect Celebration. We hope to have left you with some actionable ideas for your own event. If you like the show, please subscribe and definitely leave us a review. We read every comment. So until next time, happy planning and see you soon on Eventful Endeavors.